So that was really my first foray out into the world. I went back to Bombay and then back to Berkeley, and by that time it was early 1968, and I got back to Berkeley just in time for the street uprisings of May and June and July of '68, which really was that was the cauldron of my generation. I mean, I don't know how many of you were there the night we burned the Bank of America. These great When I first started public speaking, I had the illusion that you all were there, and that I was talking to the same people, and that we were that tight, and suddenly I realized, there are people in this room who weren't born, probably, the night that went down. Anyway, I was in Berkeley all that summer and fall, and some of you may remember S.I. Hayakawa, who was the later political opportunist who, at that time, was cutting his way to power as president of San Francisco State. And there was a very radical strike action against San Francisco State throughout September, October, November. It was a standoff. Every day we would riot. Every day they would call out the tax squad, and then we would do it the next day, and then take off 2 days on weekends. And what finally ended it was Christmas vacation. It was never a resolution, but it was really a crazy scene. It was one of the most Orwellian things I've ever seen, because San Francisco State has a big quad with square cubicle buildings on all four sides of it. Well, the tax squad, intelligence people, and the FBI and the CIA, who knows who, would put their observers up on these rooftops. And they were filming with telescopic cameras and all this. And obviously they also had closed-circuit TV, because you never saw Hayakawa. You never saw him. But there were these huge loudspeakers mounted on the corners of these buildings. And they would hold rallies, and the Black Panthers would speak, and some guy would get up and say, now, you all know why we're here. We're here for business. And the business administration building was one of the buildings here. He said, we're here for business. And the crowd would just begin moving toward the business administration building. Meanwhile, the cobblestone walkways were suddenly mobile in the hands of the crowd. And you could hear Hayakawa's voice saying, you're clearly escalating! You're clearly escalating! And then the tax squad would sweep in and so forth and so on. And it was just bedlam. Well, finally Christmas vacation ended there. And the next day, as I was leaving my apartment in the hills behind Berkeley, I noticed this guy in a car with a funny license plate and a clipboard mounted on a little stand so you could write while you drove. And he seemed to be taking a lot of interest in my comings and goings. So I told my friend that I thought we had shot our wad, and reminded him that the first duty of a revolutionary is to survive, right? And so we bought air tickets to Luang Prabang, Laos, via Hong Kong, and went to Laos, and then on to India, and then back to the Seychelles. There was a possibility at that time of getting real estate in the Seychelles. And it was really all that traveling in Asia which pointed me toward my eventual interest in psychedelics and the Amazon.
This anarchy theme will begin to build because we are locked in an impossible cultural bind between a completely exhausted and materialistic Marxism and a completely cancerous and value dark kind of capitalism. neither of these systems is tolerable, actually, and each feeds off the other as its reason for being. The problem has always been with anarchy that people, as W.C. Fields said, are no damn good. And I think that's where psychedelics come in. The reason people are no damn good is because they have no sense of social responsibility. And it is the cultivation of this sense of social responsibility that will pave the way for anarchy. And it isn't social responsibility as preached from the pulpit. It has to be from the guts. It has to be real social responsibility. And then, lo and behold, the withering away of the state and all these highly unlikely things will actually come into view. But it will take almost a sub-telepathic or proto-telepathic society for this to happen. Computer networking and that sort of thing can provide the hard wiring for the basic data, the banking data, the statistical data, the real unconscious of the machine part of humanity. But it's human beings that are going to have to make this leap to responsibility to usher it in. It's the completion of this program of obsession with the Neolithic. It's the completion of the program begun by psychoanalysis and psychedelic drugs, and a number of people who might not have thought they would end up on the same side. I mean, it's the completion of the program of Hugh Hefner and the feminists, because it will eventually, it does have this polymorphic sexual content, but it also is certainly a goddess realizing kind of social movement. This thing I said earlier about emotions are the carrier wave of being, and we have been blind to this for a very long time. We can embrace chaos and see that chaos is the environment in which we all thrive. That's how I've done it for years. You think I could have gotten away with this in the Soviet Union? I don't think so. I require a society on the brink of social breakdown to be able to do my work. And I think a society on the brink of social breakdown is the healthiest situation for individuals. I don't know how many of you have ever had the privilege of being in a society in a pre-revolutionary situation, but the cafes stay open all night, and there's music in the streets, and you can breathe it, you can feel it, and you know what is happening. The dominator is being pushed. It never succeeds. It never is able to claim itself. But on the other hand, history is young. We may have a crack at this. A global society is coming into being. A global society made out of information that was not intended to be ours, but which is ours through the mistaken invention and distribution of small computers, the printing press, all of this stuff. Information is power, and information has been spilled by the clumsy handling of the cybernetic revolution by the dominator culture so that it is everywhere. Never has the situation been more fluid. Never have the opportunities for infiltration, insurrection, and hell-raising been more present at hand. But we have to seize the opportunity. We have to seize the opportunity because the world doesn't have that much more to run unless somebody begins to shake the apple cart. If we don't begin to shake the apple cart, then the apple cart is just going to sail over the cliff and be lost.